Welcome to part 5 of week 11. We are going to talk about our final category in writing for a mass social media. And then category 6 is all about digestible data. So, what do I mean by that? I just mean making your data easy to swallow for your audience, making sure that they understand the message you're trying to portray without getting lost in all the facts and figures. So, let's take a quick look at that. I want you to make sure that you are painting a picture when you are using data. Use that data to your advantage. Use visual aids. Really, you can make so many nice charts right now using the data that you have. And anytime that you can, present your stats in a visual form so that the reader is more likely to focus on the message behind what you're trying to say. These are a couple of good examples for you. Most people killed in crashes are drivers or passengers. Just a simple pie chart with showing you what the percentage of victims in crashes are. And then look at the one on the right. Seatbelts have saved an estimated 255,000 lives since 1975. Look at the bar chart. Back in 75 to 97, less than 100,000 people saved. Now look at it now. What's that showing you? Is the trend going up? Is the trend going down? How easy was it for you to grasp that information versus reading through paragraph after paragraph to get that same information? Does that give you an idea? And anytime that you are presenting data like this, your titles should always be your bluff. And as a quick recap, the bluff is the bottom line up front. Most people are killed in crashes are drivers or passengers. There's your bluff statement, and there's your data to back it up. Seatbelts have saved an estimated 255,000 lives since 1975. Again, your bluff statement, there's your data to back it up. Okay. And then there's just a quick reminder. Using charts, graphs, or other visually impactful representations of data is important because it's engaging and it gets the message across quickly. Definitely faster than reading through a paragraph or two. And I'm going to show you that on the next slide just so you can see exactly what I mean by that. Which would you rather read? Example number 1, it comes from employment situation summary from the economic news release. Contact information of the people sending out this summary. And there's all your data written out for you in a logical manner. But how many times are you going to have to read through that before that data starts to sink in? And how much more before you actually get meaning from that data? It's going to take you at least 2 or 3 tries, probably even more. Same information is being presented in example number 2, but this time they've used some infographics and they have used some charts. You can clearly see it comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, contact information, and there is your bluff statement, chart 1, unemployment rate seasonally adjusted, and then is your data. What's it showing you about the unemployment rate? Is it going up or going down? How quickly did it take you to see that compared to this? Chart number 2, non-farm payroll employment over the month change seasonally adjusted. Okay, what is that telling you about the rate of non-farm payroll employment? How quickly could you grasp that information versus reading the paragraph in number 1? Should give you a really good idea of how easy it is to give data, especially complex data, by using visual aids to paint your picture. The next thing I want you to do is don't bury the leady. The leady is the main idea of your main statement. Don't bury the leady in the statistics. Make sure you have that main idea and then have the statistics to back it up. The leady is always just your bluff statement. Here's an example. What's the main idea of this passage? With more than 40 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists while hitting 5 three-pointers in Game 3, Kevin Durant became the most versatile player in the NBA Finals history. Okay, what's the bluff statement here? What's the main idea? Hopefully you've thought about it and you've come up with the same answer I did. Kevin Durant became the most versatile player in NBA Finals history. There's my bluff or my main point, and there's my statistics to back up my statement. In game 3, producing more than 40 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists while hitting 5 3-pointers. Okay. I want you to think about, if you are in court, a lawyer will always start with, my client is innocent, and then give the reasons why his client is innocent. He gives that bluff statement right up front, and then he'll get all the statistics to back it up so that his client is innocent. So keep that in mind. The next point I want you to think about is rounding up statistics. 3,976,284.5. Say that in a presentation without a visual to go with that, and your audience is going to go, what? And start counting on their fingers and get stuck. Change that to almost 4 million, and immediately your audience is with you. They're still engaged. You haven't lost anybody. Their brains haven't exploded. They're right there with you. So always round out your statistics. Take a look at this. We're going to round this up to the nearest 100s. Our first number is 7,891. And if we look at that, the 8 has the rectangle around it. So let's look to the number to the right of it to see if we're going to round up or down. 9 is greater than 5, which is the midway point. Therefore, we're rounding up. So it will become 7,900. Look at the next number, 15,753. 7 has the rectangle around it. Look at the number to the right. It's a 5. The number to the right of the 5 is a 3, which is bigger than 0. So we are going to round up to 76. So it would then become 8. 15,800. Next number, 99,961. 9 has the rectangle. The number to the right of that is 6. So we are going to round up. That will make it a nice 100,000. Hopefully your brains just remembered everything you learned about rounding in 5th grade, and you have an idea of what it's like. What you would then do is round it up and then put a little footnote at the bottom where you could have the actual facts for you. But by rounding it up, you've made it more meaningful for your reader. There's the examples. 7,891 becomes 7,900. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's a really good idea to round your statistics off. And then this is from the EU statistics policy. It does say that authors of statistical publications face the challenge of finding a good balance between accuracy and readability. And that's why we do suggest this rounding up, because you're still fairly accurate, but you're putting that little footnote and you're putting the actual facts somewhere else in your report, so that you're also giving the accuracy, but you're making it readable and relatable for your reader. Okay, finally, put that data into context. On the right-hand side there, you'll see a little generic airline and a little credit card for that airline. I don't know about you, but not a month goes by before I will get one of these mailers in the mail telling me from an airline that if I get their credit card and I use it, they will give me bonus for 40,000 miles just for signing up and using their card. That's great. But what does that 40,000 miles get me? State it. Tell me what it gets me. Use your 40,000 miles to travel round trip anywhere in the continental USA. Now I know a value that I can apply to that offer. So now it makes sense to me, and I can decide if it's worth it to go with that branded credit card. Another good way of saying that, some examples there on the left-hand side. 1 out of every 4 people, every 16 seconds, and the equivalent of. So again, you're making it relatable for your reader, and you're not overwhelming them with the statistics. Another good example of this is this fact. 1 exabyte, which is a 1 followed by 21 zeros, bytes of data is created on the internet daily. Wow, that looks like a long number. Certainly got a lot of zeros. But what does it mean? I actually looked this up because I wasn't sure this was true, nor was I sure what I couldn't comprehend the magnitude of the number. It was too big a number for me. But so what I did is I did my research because my brain was getting kind of wired out. And 1 exabyte of data is created on the internet daily. It's roughly the equivalent of the data in 250 million DVDs. Now I can relate to that because I know how much data goes into a DVD. I'm probably dating myself here, and a lot of you may not even have looked at a DVD in your life, but for me, this now makes sense. So if I was writing a report about an exabyte, I would explain what an exabyte is by saying it's roughly the equivalent of the data in 250 million DVDs. And then I'd have a little footnote at the bottom that could tell me some more. So again, I've made it relatable to my reader. Okay, so let's have a quick recap on data rules. Paint a picture with your data. Make sure, don't be afraid to use graphics. Just make sure your reader stays engaged and can easily understand what you're telling them. Don't bury the lead. Always make chart titles your bluff. Now, just as a recap, that's your bottom line up front. Make sure you're rounding up statistics so that your reader can relate to what you're saying. And then make sure that that data is put into context. You want to make sure that they can understand the magnitude of what the message is that you're giving. Okay, we've reached the end of part 1 of writing for mass social media. Quick recap of that. Always remember that form follows function. Get the basics out there first before you start prettying it up for your reader. The unique needs of your specific audience will always determine the form of your writing design. Remember, back to that junk drawer. Doesn't matter how much information you have in the writing, if you haven't written it in the format that your audience is looking for, it's going to make it really difficult to get that information across to them. So follow the 6 strategies. Bottom line up front, clear structure and organization, chunk your text, make sure you have clear, specific headers, make sure it is readable for your audience, and that any data that you're including is easily digested by your reader. Okay, that's all that I have for section 1. I want you to go through your writing prompt one last time. Make sure you are changing the length of your sentences to make it flow better, and follow any of these steps that you may want to just revisit, and then turn in your finished writing paragraph. And that's all I have for part 1. Part 2 is very short. So once you're done with that, you will be complete for this week. Thank you.